This tutorial is going to show how to create the tables in Access when you've got a given piece of data. Bear in mind, this example only has one data file. You could be given multiple files. You could open this up in Excel and then copy and paste the different pieces of information onto different sheets and then re-import those in. But this tutorial is going to focus on how to actually do this straight into Access and split it up. So I've already downloaded the file all data. If I open that up just in a normal text area method, text box, it's got all the information in there that I want to use. But what I need to do is I'm going to go into Access. Note there are no tables at the moment. External data, import from text file. I'm going to browse to the location where my text file is, import the source data into a new table in the current database. OK, make sure it's delimited. Choose the correct option, usually it's comma, and then first row contains field headings, so this will give us the right field names. Now, as I go through, I need to check each and every one of these is the right data type. So I've got my test IDs, so these need to make sort of sense. The exercise complete, it's a true false option, and it's by default chosen text, so I actually want to change that to a yes no option. Remember, mixture of numbers and letters, any of those are always going to be text, much like phone numbers will always be stored as text, even though there are only numbers in them. Fitness IDs, yep. These are mostly just generic ID numbers, so make sure that's just stored as integers. Any dates, make sure they're stored as dates and times. This example, it's got September as a whole sort of separate month, just stored as text. That probably will not be how it's used in the actual exam, but we'll look at different ways of dealing with that, and you can try it out with different data sets. So it could just actually have just a month and using just the date time options. Test years, once again, it's an integer. The exercise names stored as text. Description, so an explanation about what it is. The units of the exercise, whether it's the result's going to be stored in like reps or time. First name, surnames, and dates of birth. Once again, date of birth, so most of these are okay. The only one you sort of need to look at is these exercise results. These ones here, they're mostly being stored as an integer, but if we are going to be storing time, there might be some that we need to store decimal points, so it might be a better option to choose double for the exercise results. But bear in mind we can't have a 0.5 reps, but this is going to depend on how the information is actually stored in the actual database. So the only ones we really had to change here are the exercise results to double and the exercise complete to a true false option. Going to run through the wizard. We want to add no primary key for this, because we just want to import the raw data. Now if everything works, all the data should be imported correctly. Probably need to go through, just double check everything's got in. What you notice is the exercise completed column has got zeros and minus ones for our trues and falses. So we've got all the raw information. Now what we need to do is create our tables. This links in with our four options: student, exercise, monthly exercise result, monthly test. Now, each student can have lots of monthly tests. So for January, February, and so on. In each monthly test, there can be lots of different students in the course. That's why we have this monthly exercise result. So each student has one exercise result, which is for only one monthly test, and each individual entry of this is just for one exercise, because each monthly test has lots of exercises such as push-ups, sit-ups, press-ups, like wall sits, all those. So generally the biggest table that we're going to have is this monthly exercise results. This is our linking table. And then we've got the other ones. Exercise is going to be fairly static, won't change too much. Students, we'll only end up adding things into there when we add new students. And monthly test, each month we're going to create new monthly tests. So we need to create these. So what we're going to use is a new tool. In Database Tools, we're going to click on the Analyze Table button. Now we're going to run through this wizard. First, just click on the Next. You can ask you to show an example, which, if you're in the exam, it's often a good idea to do because it'll help you break down the problem. I want to use my All table. This is the one that's got all the data repeated. If you've got more than one data file, you might need to do this a couple of times to break it down. So, I don't want to let the wizard decide because I'm going to use my sort of common sense to actually have a look at this. So I now have table 1. Unfortunately, we can't resize this to make it bigger. And what I'm going to do is I need to work out what is going to go into my different tables. So I've got a student ID. So I'm going to hold down the Control key and select all the fields that are to do with student ID. And I'm just going to drag them off to the right and give it a name. Call it Students. And it's gone and created a student table. Now, I've already got a student ID for that column, so I'm going to make sure I'm actually using the correct one that I want. So I've got the students. Now I need to go and find my other information. So I'll look for whatever I've got for my IDs. Exercises. Now, there's a few other ones here called exercise result and exercise complete. These are actually to do with each sort of monthly fitness test for each exercise, but I only want the details of each individual exercise. So I just want the exercise ID, its name, its description, and its units. And I drag those across, and I now have an exercises table. Once again, it's already got a key, so I'm going to lock that one in place. Now I finally have each monthly fitness test. So now I need to get the information just for that. I think it's just those three. And we're going to create that table. And it's also already got a primary key, so I'm going to lock that one in place. Table 1, this last one is our monthly fitness test results. So I have that table created. Now, unfortunately, due to just the way it's created, it doesn't let me set a compound key on this one, because in order to make a unique one of these, I need to have the student, what exercise it is, and what fitness test they're participating in, but we can reset that later. Generally put no, don't create the query, because we want to make these as separate tables. We're going to hit finish. It comes up with a little message, just don't worry too much, as long as the information has gone in. So what I can see now is there are 7 different monthly fitness tests currently existing in the data. Don't worry about the September 2012 existing there, that's an error in the original data from when I was creating the dummy data file. We've got 7 different exercises, 3 students, and 129 different exercise results. What we need to do though is with the monthly fitness tests, go into design view for those and create the compound key, which is the 3 that join the 2. And what we should notice is actually all of our relationships are already created. If we do need to modify them, we can double click on them and do the enforce referential. So effectively, when you ask to show print screen the relationships, bang, you've got this print screen here that shows all the tables. So that will be showing evidence of the relationships you've created. For each of the tables, now, so take a print screen of this. I'm going to show 129 of them. Make sure this section at the bottom, showing the actual number of entries, is visible. If they ask you to only show sort of 5, so maybe only the first 5 entries, easiest way to deal with it, is a bit of a hack, but it's just resizing the window. just down so you can only see 5 of them. Not the most ideal way, but it saves yourselves a lot of time. Okay, just make sure whenever you're doing this, do not chop off what name of the table is. So you know the students table, and it's got 3 entries. So you need to be able to see the name of the table, whatever entries they've asked for, and the number of records that are available. That's gone and created our tables. Unfortunately at this point we haven't actually done any validation, so we're going to come back and do validation in a separate section.